Hello, you glorious gazobos. So, welcome back to some StarCraft 2 visual novel. Last time in the story, we met up with Mr. Terrifying, Mr. Yeon, our convenience store wisdom dispensing reptilian, who had us play a game of Go. We also are going to need to have like a little montage of dun 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 as we play video games for like a week straight. That way we can beat someone else that's just as good, if not better, at video game. But we're gonna win. We're taking them down. We're gonna own them. I don't know. Okay, but yeah, so we played a game of Go. We lost, and the piece of advice that we got from Mr. Yeon was we play not to lose, but we need to learn to play to win. Which I kind of understand that. I'm picking up what he's putting down. Alright. In a roundabout way, I think Mr. Yeon's little diversion might actually help. It's nice to know that he cares enough to offer advice, even if it's just because I shop at his store. Whether or not that business about Go and not losing is true remains to be seen. Is an aversion to losing really that ingrained in my DNA? Go Mart, huh? Alright, Mr. Yeon. I'll admit, you're pretty clever, Mr. Reptilian Man. Seems much darker outside than it was when I came in. I checked the time. Oh, shit. Half a dozen missed calls from Riva. Did that Go match seriously take more than an hour? An urgent need to get back to my apartment places my thoughts of Mr. Yeon's board games. I weave through pedestrians as best as we can, while simultaneously texting an apology to Riva. My feet carry me as fast as they can. If Riva got tired of waiting in front of my door and left, I'm screwed. I pant my way up my apartment and pause in the hallway to find that she isn't there. Frustrated, I sigh and force open my door. I'm dead. I'm so dead. Why didn't I keep track of time? Why now? Why when so much is on the line? I rack my brain for an excuse I can offer Jet. Look up and find my apartment is already occupied. You're late. She rises from the seat of my on my bed and points at the computer. Ladder. How are you in my room? The door was not locked, so I let myself in when you failed to answer my calls. You just came in? Yes. Everything calms as my panic subsides. I forgot to lock my door, huh? I guess this is better than showing up to find my computer missing. Right, okay, sorry, I got caught up with some old guy. Here. I rustle and reach in a bag I'm carrying and hand a drink to Riva. Caught up. Riva takes my offering without so much as looking at it, whether or not she's actually going to drink it. I've done my due diligence as a host. It's hard to explain. You do not need to explain your relationship with an old man if you'd rather not. Even though I'm pretty sure it's a joke, Riva doesn't smile to show it. I offer a nervous laugh and fall into my computer chair, trying to move on from the topic of my tardiness. So, right, ladder. There's something you think I need to practice? You will want to match against Protoss players only. Quit the match if your opponent is Terran or a Zerg. Wait, but my ranking? With a few keystrokes I display my proudly earned Grandmaster badge, accompanied by a rank in the double digits. If I leave 2/3 of my game tonight, I'm gonna lose a bunch of ladder points. Are your ladder points really that important? Absolutely. Well, without a word, Riva takes the mouse from me and logs out of StarCraft 2. Her fingers dance across the keyboard, and a second later, we're logged into her barcode account. The Grandmaster badge accompanying Riva's anonymous username is ranked even higher than mine. Play on this one then. I don't care about ladder rank, and neither should you. Scratch behind my head and have the sense to look embarrassed. She's right. Pretty dumb for me to worry about ladder rank at a time like this. With a nod and a click, I search for my first match of the night. It takes a handful of games before I finally match against a Protoss. He's got one of those weird names with random capitalization. Riva just sits over my shoulder from the edge of my bed, eyes fast on the monitor. Your APM is low. I wince and respond with a flurry of unnecessary keystrokes. I've never cracked 300 APM, even when I'm focused on doing so. A minute or two passes without comment, though it's hard to tell whether or not that means she thinks I'm playing well. Your engineering bays are late. Are they? They are. Damn it. I whip my mouse hard, box a pair of SCVs, and slam down the two delayed structures. I check his army composition with a scan and decide I'm ready to challenge him. Delayed upgrades or no, I managed to keep a close enough eye on my opponent's tech that I have amassed swell of Vikings by the time his Colossus come into play. His army gets caught in an awkward position when he tries to establish his third base, allowing me to power forward into his base. It's a win. I'd normally celebrate with a self-assured smile. Hold up. Let me do something real fast because this looks a little loud when I looked at that bar. Oh, that jumped pretty fast. I'm going to put this here. Hopefully that's a good volume for the game. Also, side note, Razzle's lucky here. He says, and I know another couple of other people that had their wisdom teeth come in perfectly fine. My wisdom teeth, oh my gosh, they've been coming in for a while and I need to go have them pulled, but it's expensive, so oh well, I'm sad about it, but I'm living in pain. But this wisdom tooth is like moving, like it's like they grow in spurts. Like they moved up a little bit and they just would stop and everything would cool down and be fine, and I'd stop, being in pain. But then a couple months later, they're like, oh, it's time to grow a little bit again. Time to come out, peek our heads a tad more. And then they keep doing it. And this one is doing it, or has moved a little bit lately. And oh my gosh, like the gum around there is like all swollen, so I can't like completely bite down or it just hurt. I know you guys don't care, and it's a random topic, but all the talking I'm doing lately is just not fun. But with Riva over my shoulder, I'm forced to feign humility in my victory. I turn towards her and motion towards the screen. Well, what do you think? She adjusts her glasses and purses her lips, taking a long moment to decide on her response. He was bad, but you capitalized on his mistakes, so I have no major complaints. A good player won't let you obtain free information. Use your scans wisely. I thought I used them pretty well, didn't I? Scouting is one of the things I'm best at. Not particularly, and you should always aim to be even better. I grumble and turn to queue up another game. Yet another thing to focus on, I guess. I had thought that Riva's low-key attitude might have made her a little bit lenient with my mistakes. But she's not all that different from Jet. Minus how she delivers her criticism. My next match is on the largest map in the current ladder pool. I'll have a pretty easy time defending my expansions with the way the map's choke points are constructed. Rather than poke and prod with Marines or go for an early aggression, I throw down a quick third base in a far-flung corner of the map. Shortly, I begin my natural expansion. Pulling off this kind of tactic is incredibly rewarding if it goes unscouted. I'm practically guaranteed to win. Why are you doing that? Practice something useful. Shift my gaze aside from Riva's uncontrollably close to both me and my monitor. What if I decide to hide an expansion against Bolt? Are you going to risk the team on a coin flip, cancel it, and aim for a long game? Riva offered the advice too firm to be called a suggestion, and I find myself moving the mouse to do as instructed. This gaff is going to set me a fair bit. I gear up for a drawn-out match, but focusing on my upgrades and base defense. It's not long before my Protoss opponent and I have split the map in half and are jockeying for position. Build more defenses. You can afford a dozen planetary fortresses. Is it really necessary? Match your opponent as Protoss. Protoss players will stop at nothing to cheat an honest Terran out of an earned win. Funny, I typically imagine balance whiners as loud and obnoxious in real life. I wonder if she quit playing random out of guilds. Still, I oblige her and cram as many static defenses structures as I can into a vital choke point. There's an observer over your army. I squint to find that she's right. Damn, how did I not catch that earlier? With a scan, I pick off the Proto Scout and reposition my units. It takes a few minutes to adjust my army's composition to one that better suits the extreme late game, but I am soon ready to clash with my opponent. At this point, StarCraft becomes less about strategy and more about patience. It's important to know when to stalk and when to pounce. I sense an opening at last and rush into my opponent's weak flank. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Riva tensing up, invested as much as I am in the outcome of this battle. But try as I might, my snipes don't connect with the High Templar, scattering amongst the Protoss army. He drowns my unit in Storm and steamrolls down the center of the map, destroying my constructed defenses along the way. I struggle pointlessly to mount a counteroffensive, but the damage is done. I'm forced to tap out a GG and quit the match with a huff. He controlled his army better than you did. I spin my chair to face Riva with a frown. If he didn't, I would have won. That was close. Yes, it was. But at least she can concede a point to my credit when it's deserved. But damn, that match took a while. As long as go with Mr. Yeon, if not longer. What time do you need to leave? Are you throwing me out? No, I'm just saying if you need to go home at a certain time, just I do not. Okay. Sheesh. Why does talking to her feel so unnatural? It has to be intentional on her part. That's because she's secretly Mr. Yeon, and she magically used her reptilian teleporting powers to teleport here before you got home. That's how she got in. Your door wasn't locked. It's because she is a reptilian person that's controlling everything. An omnipotent being that I've said multiple times. Sheesh. Oh, I already read that. I need a break. Your opponent will use every wasted moment to become better than you. Breaks are dangerous. It's a short one. I'm thirsty. Anyway, we'll be back on the ladder with a vengeance afterwards. Thirsty. I see. My fist clenches involuntarily as I reach for a can, nearly forcing me to knock it over. I offer Riva an exhausted look before cracking open my drink. Not to be outdone, I take a poised sip before glancing casually in her direction. So, pretend to be a guy on the internet. Now it's Riva's turn to tense up. Her face contorts, her eyes glazing over as if scanning her internal database for a scathing comeback. 404 comeback not found. Oh my gosh. I enjoyed that. I do no such thing. Details about my private life are kept just so, private. Others simply assume. It's all coming to an end if we're going to be on a team with Enoch, isn't it? I suppose. Excited about living in a team house? As long as it's being paid for? Yes. And it for the esports money, I see. Of course. Since primary school, I've dreamed of my own bunk bed and a free cup of noodles. Eva is refreshingly realistic about pro gamer living conditions. Maybe she can talk some sense into Stunt. To be frank, anything is better than life back at home. Oh, trouble with your parents? No, my parents worked hard to give me the opportunities they never had, and for that I will always be grateful, but they live far from Seoul, so I was isolated from friends for most of my life. I mean, your online friends? Yes, but now I have a chance to make my own way. I take pride in the fact that I have turned my skills into a living, no matter how meager. Should be. People living off of StarCraft do it with the support of a team, but you've managed on your own. You have the right to be proud. Maybe, but sometimes, even though I'm happy with my compliments, I lack the confidence to devote more of myself to this game. Really? Wouldn't expect to hear something like that from you. Why? I don't know, you seem kind of like the resolute type. No regrets. That sort of thing. Bad at putting into words my impression of Reba, but she seems to better understand what I mean by the nod she offers. You are correct that I always give full effort to my pursuits. However, not a matter of regret. Normally, I can be satisfied even in failure if I had done my best. But what if the task was not worth working towards in the first place? What do you mean? Esports is like anything else, isn't it? It's a climb to the top. It is, but StarCraft is inherently less valuable than most other things. Art, athletics, education, science, a corporate career. Objectively, my time is better spent on almost anything other than pro gaming. But I do not believe that I can truly distinguish myself from any of those. While it's possible as a pro gamer. Sorry, I don't think I read that right. Apologies. I was born in the right country. I'm the correct age. I have enough required talent. Even then, it's not logical for me to spend so much time and effort on what should statistically prove unrewarding. Yet I cannot bring myself to turn down the chance to compete. I have the same drive, so I can at least understand that. But you really won't have to do something. But you really won't do something if you can't be the best. Wait, time out. Hold on. Give me a moment. English, brain, shutting down, meltdown. 404, reading not found. But you really won't do something if you can't be the best at it? The way you talk about your motivation. You even like StarCraft? No, I don't. She answers bluntly and looks away. I have nothing to say to that. High-level StarCraft isn't always fun in the traditional sense of the word, but it sounds like Rita genuinely doesn't enjoy the game. For her to be as good as she is with that holding her back, it's hard to understand. StarCraft's greatest players have always credited their love of the game as a major factor in their success. How far can she hope to go without that advantage? With silence filling the space between us, Reva takes the opportunity to try out the drink I bought her. On the first day, she screws her face up and hurries to set it down. How can you stand something so sugary? I shrug. Since I don't have a good answer, it's not like I can explain why something tastes good. Where are you living if not with your parents? You know what a Goshawan is? No. That's a term that showed up in one of my online lessons. If I remember correctly, it's an absurdly tiny type of apartment, literally the size of a closet, with a low price to match. I live on the edge of Seoul, so rent is inexpensive. Pay with my winnings from online tournaments. Be honest, that's kind of badass. Like, literally, okay, maybe not like, she's not top level gaming, she's not like the best, but she's winning enough online tournaments to actually pay rent and internet. Like, that's pretty good. Like, that's like, everyone's got to give her credit for that. Kind of badass. But then she is a reptilian Mr. Yeon, so there's that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you had a great time, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.